What's going on? Happy Cinco de Mayo. We're your girls right here. Lex, Claudia.
Claudia.
Okay, and we are back with our heart to heart. It's been too long, Claudes.
That's right. That's right. We were having a heart to heart ourselves, I think, right? We'll talk about that. But we are back, and what a great time to be back with Cinco de Mayo. Lex, we were just talking about it behind the scenes. What's up with people celebrating Cinco de Mayo and it not even being a Mexican celebration?
It's all about the money, baby. It's the US of A is about commercializing everything. So it's about the money. So I can't even tell you, but shout out to all our Mexican friends out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm down with the pozole off the chain. I like the red one, not the green one. Yes, I'm down with tamales. You know what I mean? Flautas are the joint right there. Have you had flautas de papa and cheese?
Oof.
Girl.
But what about the jarritos? Because you cannot have a Mexican food without them jarritos, the mandarin one, the tamarindo
No, girl.
one.
Let me tell you, your girl Lex don't drink nothing carbonated, okay? But she does do an horchata, okay?
Ooh,
Or
oh,
a jamaica. That's what I'm talking about.
what is it? They call them the aguas. I think they call them
Aguas.
not
Aguas
aguardiente,
frescas.
y'all. Not aguardiente. We ain't
That's
talking
the
about no
Colombian
alcohol.
drink. Not that I would know. But it's aguas frescas, and I'm about the
Yes.
Jamaica, the melon. Yes,
Yeah.
girl. So
Yes to the yes.
Mexico, we love you. We love you. Que viva Mexico. But your day is in September. But we will take a Cinco
We
de
will take a
Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
We,
Absolutely.
we will take a Cinco de Mayo. You know what I'm saying? So in the comments, what's your favorite agua fresca? Claus, as we're talking here about food, what did you eat today?
I like it. I can look. It says, "Nah." It is when the Mexican military defeated the French. See, we got some people that know their stuff. They know their stuff. I'm reading the comments. You know what? I did not have. It's crazy because yesterday I prepared myself knowing that my daughter was going to be all about the hey ma Cinco de Mayo. We got to eat tacos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did not have tacos. I actually had a Panera bread soup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I had a homemade Zoppa Toscana. If you
Oh,
know the OG, the Olive Garden, I had the homemade Zoppa Toscana come through this house
okay.
tonight. Okay. And it was all good in the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, I did participate in my daughter's Cinco de Mayo history from her class, so that
Oh,
was that. But no, yeah, I had a chicken. What's that? What's that one from Panera? The one that when you eat it, you got to be close to a bathroom because the broccoli cheddar. Y'all know what I'm
ooh,
talking about.
yes, the broccoli cheddar. Let me tell you, Claude, here where I live in Texas, we don't have a Panera Bread. But guess what? They said that coming 2021 is coming. Is coming. Maybe here in the summer. And I'm excited.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. If
Because
you go to Target though, there are some soups, but then that's frozen, processed, salty.
no, we will wait until it gets here because I like my half and half. I like my salad and my
Yes.
soup, that Fuji apple salad.
Did you
Right.
know that they now have for y'all that are like, oh, I don't want to eat no bread on the side or whatever. They now have a tomato, cucumber, basil salad for the side.
That don't even sound good.
It's girl, if you don't, I'm sure you eat the tomato with the mozzarella.
Let me tell. Oh, you talking about with that drizzle of balsamic
Yes.
vinaigrette?
Yes.
That's
So
the
they
in it.
have that, except that they've added cucumbers to it. So shout out to Panera. We are speaking
Shout
good
out.
about y'all. Y'all want to sponsor us? We would gladly do a food.
Gladly.
What is it? Food monka? Whatever is it that you do?
Which you and I, when I get to New York, you and I are gonna do a mukbang, okay?
Yes. Okay.
And tonight's snack, for those of you who know, here on the Heart to Heart, we do snacks, okay? Tonight's snack is Cheetos, okay? They're not the flaming hot Cheetos. They're just the plain old Cheetos. And what is your snack, Visual? Yeah, okay, veggie straws,
Okay.
living your best life out there.
Trying
So if
to
you have a snack right now, y'all need to bring out the snack as
Yes.
you're watching on your phone. Put your phone on a book so that you can eat with the two hands, okay?
Absolutely, because we have a topic tonight that is going to be so edifying. I just have to shout out Anna Galdames who's saying, girl, try peach, tomato, and basil, then tell me. So I think, Lex, on the next Heart to Heart,
What?
we're going to do that.
What?
Peach, tomato, and basil.
You're going to have to ship it to me because, again, I don't have a Panera here just yet.
No. She's telling us to make, that's like a recipe, I'm assuming. So what we're going to do is we're going to try it. So this is what we're going to do, Lex.
Okay.
People are going to comment something that they would like for us to try. And we will pick something out and we will make it happen during our next Heart to Heart.
Let's
Simple.
go. I love that idea. Now, Claude, you didn't have a great meal today,
No, I
okay?
didn't.
But I heard that you were watching something.
Yeah. Listen, it was in honor of Cinco de Mayo, right? I guess. But I went ahead and I watched part 2 of the Selena on Netflix. Now, I know a lot of you guys in the comment, like, yo, that's so ratchet, so ghetto, so poor budget, so this, so that. But I actually enjoyed it. I'm like a Selena fan. Like, my birthday's next week, Friday, y'all, May 14th. Don't forget, next Friday, midnight, okay? And I even told my mom, Ma, can I have a Selena themed birthday? And she looked at me like there was something wrong with me, you know?
Como la
Yeah, something like with the
flor.
flower, with the, somebody say, no, no. I wanted to wear my
Let me
whole
tell you
bouquet.
why. Let me tell you, Netflix, I'm coming after you right now. And in the comments, I don't care if you're gonna come after me because
Kayla singing trash.
I am entitled to tell you that Netflix knew that 90% of the people were going to come watch Selena, okay, or Selena's. We were going to come watch because we are ride or die. We are true to the cause.
Yeah.
We love the music. We were going to come through. But why they went to the Dollar Tree
To get the wig.
to get the wigs?
Yeah. I was looking at that. Yeah, somebody saying, yes, Claudia. Listen, okay. I have to agree. The wardrobe, the wigs, you're looking at her and you're like, wait a minute. Like,
They did a side-by-side comparison. Selena really did look 40 at 17, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, that we can't, listen, I think the girl placed the role well. I think she
Right.
put her heart in it. But I think that, yes, they did not, do much to justify. I mean, just
They
in one
knew
of the
that we
episodes, like the wig was like this and like staticky. So I get it. I get it. I mean, we cannot compare this to because the problem is, Lex, we have J-Lo stuck in our head, because
no, but that they did that movie with excellence. All
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying
saying.
is
So we're
they did
thinking
the
about
movie with
that. And
excellence.
so I'm wondering what would have happened if we would have never had that J-Lo.
Let me tell you something. Even some of the acting was a little twek in season 1. Will I watch season 2? Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yes, I
No, I'm
will
gonna
because
finish
I
it
want to
tonight.
see Yolanda. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
no.
saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Yolanda looked a little scary though. I mean, they did give like a little glimpse of her today. So we're not trying to spoil it. A lot of you guys are like, I want to watch it, whatever. Listen, this is entertainment purposes, like I said, yes, they could have done better with the wig. Yes, I have better wigs in my closet. Yes, I do. That
I'm
I could
about
have.
to buy one.
Yeah,
I want to buy a long what is that called when it's like two-toned?
ombre.
An ombre wig. Your
Yeah,
girl wants to come out with the blonde hair,
yeah. Okay,
incognito. You know what
okay.
I'm saying? But I don't want to look like Selena and
No, we do not want
Netflix,
to. Yeah.
series. I want to
Yeah.
look like I
So
put some
listen,
love
if you guys are gonna watch it, if you guys watched part 1 and you're gonna watch it, let us know. Like, inbox us, whatever. Let us know what you thought about it. I mean, it's still entertaining. It still is. And speaking about J-Lo, I think a lot of people right now. First of all, in Heart to Heart, we talk about everything
every
here.
everything.
Okay, listen here, ladies that are watching. We want to read in your comments. What's up with this whole J-Lo stuff? Like, some people are saying they're trying to work it out. Some people saying she was seen with Ben Affleck. Yeah, what's going on, Lex? What do you think about that?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Out of the plethora of husbands that Miss J Lo has, with all due respect, because she says she's a hopeless romantic. I get that. How many of us here can say we're hopeless romantics, right?
Yeah.
Out of the plethora that she had married, who is the best husband in your eyes? In your eyes?
I think Mark Anthony.
Well,
I mean, that's like the only one I've really known, that, they had children with and what he had, but you know what? Let me tell you something. Like, a lot of people, they want to, and this is not the topic, but where we talk about everything here. A lot of times they want to, they want to judge her. And I don't know. You don't know.
You don't
You
know.
don't know. Why is it, why do we always have to assume it's her? Why? Because she's powerful, because she's independent, because she's strong, because she's a celebrity, because, so it's like, why do we always have to say, well, look, J-Lo, another failed relationship. Ooh, and it links in to, you saw that, guys?
You saw how that worked? I knew it was going to work. I knew it was going to work.
Because
we're going to talk about
watching,
tonight.
Lex.
We're going to talk about tonight the failed relationship and recovering from that failed relationship, because let's be honest, Claude, we know about failed relationships, okay? And we're going to talk about it. But like you said, unless you're living in my house, you don't know what's happening in my house.
You don't know.
And it's so unfair that people judge our failure when they haven't been there. They haven't experienced it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So our ladies out there are commenting. They're saying, I believe he cheated. That's the allegedly what has happened.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry. She could do better. And there's someone out there for everyone. Let me just say that again.
Mm-hmm.
There is someone out there for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this behind the scenes, because a lot of times, and this is kind of our way of breaking into this, a lot of times, see, I want us to get out of the notion, and we'll speak about this when we speak about our relationships. But here's the thing, Lex. I am sick and tired of when relationships don't work out, that one or both say, well, you're never going to find better than me. You're never going to do better than me. The truth of the matter is there's always somebody better than you in something. And I think we should normalize the whole situation, that if we did not work out, whether it was romantically, friendships, ministry, or whatever the case is, I wish you the better, whatever the better is.
I wish you the better.
Because maybe what I have to offer you is not the better for you, but it is the better for someone else. So
What's up, Brooklyn? What's up, Brooklyn? Listen, I honestly believe 100% in what you're saying. There is someone that's going to do this better than me out there. There is better all around.
Better preacher, better teacher, better mother. Yeah,
absolutely. So don't come at me in a relationship. Don't come at me to what's the word when somebody tries to kind of like
manipulate.
Yeah. Scare, bring fear in, right? Yeah. To kind of arrest me and to kind of keep me here. Don't be bringing that to me, because you know what? God has better. God does better every single day. And that little comment that you're making right now tells me that you're not the best. For me. Yeah. You could be the best for somebody else.
Yeah.
But you're just not the best for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And absolutely. Why don't we, this is going off the topic, and we're about to start our topic. We're giving you girls time to get your snacks. But why is it that we don't wait for the best? No, honestly. Why is it that we settle? Yeah. Because some of us girls, we settle because we feel like the clock is ticking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're getting too old. Or, but let me tell you something. I have learned, I'm almost 44 years old.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Almost 44 years old. And you know what I've learned? That I'm worth the wait.
Yeah.
You know what? I've learned to value myself. Yeah. I've learned that I'm the best version of me right now.
Yeah.
And whoever's going to be in my life needs to what? Bring something to the table.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. And I think that one of the reasons why a lot of people also settle is comparison. I think that we compare our season with other people. We compare ourselves with those that are in our circles, in our same age range, of the, I should have been there by now because such and such person is there, such and such is a mother already. And here I am still trying to figure out what I'm going to eat tomorrow, you know? So I think that a lot of things are comparison. And ladies, when Lex is talking about worth the wait, you know, Lex is married. So don't think that worth the wait is just for a romantic relationship. It's worth the wait with people that are going to build with you, friendships, you know, connections, you know, I think it's so
relationships
important.
in every aspect. Joy says, you better bring something. Come
Don't show up
on.
empty handed, boo.
Bring, but you know what, Claude? Can we keep it real? We're about to get into it. We're about to get into recovering from failure. But let me tell you something. I am so tired of one-way friendships, one-way relationships, where you're the one bringing the decor, you're the one making the cake, you're the one bringing the snacks, you're the one bringing the food and the drinks. I'm going to need some people that want to party with me, that are going to help in the celebration.
And clean up the mess. Because that's just another word. And I know, Lex, I think that one way friendship is what they would call transactional. And what they mean by transactional is, you know, we have our cards, right? Our debit cards or whatever. We swipe it, we pay. And what do you see in the receipt? Transaction, such and such and such.
Right.
In other words, you just made a transaction and got something in return. Right.
Right.
And so a lot of friendships, a lot of relationships have become transactional, where I'm doing this, but I better get something back in return. And so I think that, yes, like you said, we need people that are not just looking for their own return, but they're looking to invest, and they're looking to bless. And we've said this a lot, and it's all over Instagram. I read this just the other day. If within your circle is not inspiring you to do better together, then find yourself. You know, how many times you'll call me and you say, hey, I have an idea. How many times I call you and I say, hey, I have an idea. And it's never, how do I grow and not let my Lex grow either, vice versa.
Absolutely. And that's, I love what you're saying. I'm not just talking about husband and wife, you know, because there are other relationships that affect us as well. For us, it's ministry relationships, right? There, you have work relationships. You have, you know, I hope people understand that you need friends in your life. Jesus had friends. That, you know, Proverbs talks about friends. Why? Because friendships matter. Friendships matter. We were not meant to do life by ourselves. Right? But we were also meant to help one another.
Yes. And I think people need to get out of the notion, especially, I know there are women that are in ministry that are watching. We're looking through the comments, and we need to get out of the notion that ministry is meant to be a lonely place. And it's not. We are teaching people that it's supposed to be a lonely place. If you're by yourself, it means you're too anointed. If you're by yourself, it means that, you know, no, I don't like that. I don't like when we put in people's mentalities that you're lonely because God wants you lonely because the anointing you carry is just too much for others to deal with. I think that, you know, we need people to help us carry the anointing.
Absolutely.
What is the purpose of being alone and you're alone with this anointing that you ain't doing nothing with it?
Right.
Like, hello, somebody.
Okay. So, Claude, are you ready to get into tonight's conversation?
Let's do
Now,
this.
2 weeks ago on Ladies Night Talk Show, one of our segments was on failure. And tonight, we're going to have a heart-to-heart discussion on recovering from failure with the emphasis in relationships. Okay? Now, before we begin on all these questions here, how important, Claude, is that recovery process?
I think that the recovery process, and I've always shared this experience with y'all, and it's when I had to get surgery on my back because I had a tumor that needed to be removed. And you guys probably like, oh, you know, she's told us that story before. But the doctor, I remember, told me prior to the surgery, recovery is going to be extremely crucial for you. And he says, because it is recovery that's going to teach you how to adapt to the new. Okay, because first of all, if you're recovering from failure, it means you lost something, right?
Well,
You had to give up something, maybe, or you didn't accomplish something. So the recovery is what's going to teach you how to perhaps get something out of the failure or obtain something greater than the failure. So, how important is recovery? I would say that recovery is crucial spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever the case is. My boss recently was admitted for about a week, and I wrote him a letter, and his response was, recovery is the real challenge, not the failure. And that to me was like,
Somebody write
oh,
that down. Recovery.
recovery is the real challenge, not the failure. Because Lex, you have to want to recover.
Ooh. Hold on, but pause. I need you to lock that thought right there, because what you're saying stirs up so much. But two things that you said. Number one, the recovery is not just one-sided. It's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. It is recovery encompasses so much, right? That's one. But then I remember someone very close to me in my life had a major accident, okay, at work. And the recovery process, right? They even had to go through some physical therapy.
Yeah.
The recovery process, this person was told, you're going to need to do these exercises. If not, the tissue
Yes, say
is
it.
going to solidify, and
Yes.
you're not going to be able to use your hands the way you should. Guess what happened, Claude? The person did not do the exercises. So what did the doctor say? We, many times when we're told the process to recovery and we don't listen because we think that we can avoid a step in the process, this person cannot utilize their hands the way they could have had they taken the steps to the recovery that were necessary. So I agree 100% with you. You're going to have to want to recover.
Yep. And you know what, Lex, people, and it's a choice, and I'm gonna prove it to y'all in 2 points, because we always want to reference biblical stuff here, so y'all know, with Lex is saying, recovery is never easy, right? Recovery is never easy. And what I also want you to understand, when we said that recovery, you must want it. It's a choice. Because let's go back to when Jesus, right, sees the man, the paralyzed man at the pool, when the angel would come and stir up the waters, right? And it says that there was a man lying there in a mat, and he was watching everybody just going and getting their healing and getting the healing. The angels would come and stir up the waters in the pool. And he was just waiting there, right? And Jesus asks him a question, right? But what was so important about that portion is, in some translations it says, and when Jesus found out, in one translation, that he had been there for many years, he asked him a question, right? Then there's another translation, after Jesus came to know that he had been laying in his condition for many years, he asked him a question. And the question that Jesus asks him is like, so what do you want? Like, just to paraphrase this, like, do you want to be healed? So for me to want to recover, it has to be a choice. Right. And making a choice to recover is, like you said, following the steps of recovery, y'all.
And you can't skip the steps. Can I say that again? You cannot skip the steps. It doesn't work. It's not going to work, because once again, going back to your point, it's not just a physical thing, but you have to heal mentally. There has to be recovery spiritually. So many people, their relationship with God hasn't fully come full circle because they have not allowed him in that process, or they wanted to do what they wanted to do, their way of doing it. So the recovery hasn't been there. Yeah. They just put a bandage on it, but the wound hasn't shut. So
okay, now And it brings me to when David, he comes back to Ziklag. I think it's the name, and I always mess up the names of the Bible. But he's coming back from one of the greatest victories with his army, his soldiers, and it said that it was one of the greatest battles that they won against the Philistines or Philistines, however you are pronouncing it. But what's interesting was that when he came back to his village, it was custom that the women would be holding a celebration to receive them, right? So they were expecting that when they came back from victory, that the women would be there singing songs and there would be a good cookout and there would be a blast of celebration. But instead, they come back to a village that was burnt up because the enemies, the Amalekites, had set fire to the village. Okay. So it's interesting that they're coming back from one battle, supposedly to a victory, and they come back to their village up in flames. And not only that, the Amalekites were known for taking everything that you loved, your children, your wives, whatever. So now they're not just dealing with an enemy that they were used to dealing with. They're dealing with a new enemy, which is the Amalekites. But David inquired of the Lord and he asked him, should I go to battle? Meaning, should I go and try to recover this all? And God answered him and he said, go, because you surely will recover it all. So in other words, it is of God's wish and desire that we recover.
Come on. So good. Now, our girl, Crystal Joan, just stepped in and she said, when we don't recover, we cause more damage.
Say that again.
When we don't recover, we cause more damage. What happens when we don't recover? Guess what? It seeps into other places in our lives. It seeps into other places in our lives. And today I was listening to our girl, SJR. And she was talking about Ruth, the story of Ruth. And we know the story of Ruth and Naomi and that conversation, that famous conversation that they have. And there was a turn in Naomi's life where she said, don't call me Naomi anymore.
Yes.
Call me Mara.
Wow. Come
right?
on, yeah.
And too many of us are walking around like Maras because we have not recovered. So we are talking, everything we think, everything we speak is all bitter. Nothing in our lives is sweet anymore because of the things that have happened. I'm going to say this. Naomi did not recover from the deaths of her husband and her sons. And then to make the wound bigger, even though she told them, leave me, go. I'm not going to be able to provide anything more to you. But I am sure that Orpah's decision to leave her also wounded her. Because if we're real, the people that walked away in our lives, if we have not healed from their departure, they're still wounding us and we're walking around bitter about life. And then we don't trust anybody that says that they're there for us.
Listen, Lex, when you touching on that, it makes me think about it, because did you know that in the Old Testament, there was a law that you were only allowed, and y'all can look it up because you were only allowed to mourn a death for 30 days. 30 days. So that means you had to, like you just mentioned, the death and stuff like that. And how many times are we delaying recovery because we're still contemplating the failure? Because it is easier to fail than to recover. Because recovering takes work. When you go through a physical failure, right? Whether it's like sickness or whatever the case is, you have surgery or whatever the case is. What does the doctor tell you all the time? Well, in 6 to 8 weeks, you could resume to do this. And in 2 to 4 weeks, come on.
Yes. Yes.
And so recovery means that there is going to be a waiting period, y'all.
Stop it. Stop it. So you're telling me that after I fail,
come on,
I just need to comprehend. You're telling me that after I fail, most of the time, I'm not going to be able to just get up.
And
There's
not just get up, Lex.
Waiting period.
Lex, not just get up. But I remember when I had my surgery, the things that I could do for myself, now I had to depend on other people to help me do it.
But you know what happens when you don't have friends? Then you don't have people to help.
That's why it's important to get a good support system.
And that's, we're going back to that conversation, because here on Heart to Heart, here in Heels and Tiaras, here in This Is My Time Ministries, it's all about bringing community together. The girls in the chat, they know each other. They've seen each other's names time and time again. We need each other to get back up and to recover.
Yeah.
But before we continue, Claude, let me go here. According to Professor Google, okay?
Google, yeah. For those of you that are like, who's Google?
According to Professor Google, here are two translations of failure. Number one is the lack of success. Okay. Number two, the state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective. Now here, just to make it even more simpler, okay, here are some synonyms for failure: bankruptcy,
Okay,
collapse, defeat, deficiency, loss,
okay,
mess, and check this last one out. This one completely awakened so much in me: miscarriage.
Woo! Ooh, physically and spiritually and all this. Aye.
Now, Claude, you know that you and I as individuals, we've had failure. We've seen failure. We've failed in so many different areas in our lives. Y no ha sido fácil.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Now, what are some areas that we want to talk about tonight in according to failure?
Well, I think I just want to touch real briefly on what you said, because somebody commented, why is failure so hard? I think the reason why failure is so hard, Lex, is because we are afraid of what people are going to say about our failure. I don't think it's so much of, I don't want to fail because of me, but I think that, we don't want to fail because of what people are going to say.
But I think you said something so clave, so key.
Yeah.
You said my failure.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It's my failure.
Yeah.
And you may be watching it, you may be the audience, but at the end of the day, this is mine.
Yeah.
Let me own it. Let me work this out. Let me learn something from it, because it's my failure. Therefore, God intends to do something in my life through it.
Yeah. And I love that you touched that, because to open it up, we all know the famous Thomas Edison, right? And when they asked him about his success, it is reported that it took Thomas Edison over 10,000 tries to invent one reliable light bulb. So over 10,000 times he failed until he was able to obtain one reliable light bulb. So why is that so interesting, Lex? Because of the 10,000 failures, he produced one successful one. And that one successful one is the one that led to all this lighting in your house and more. And so to talk about it, you said it's important that we own up to failure. It is important that you admit you have failed. Is that always easy?
Absolutely not. Nobody likes to know to have to expose that we failed. It doesn't matter. It could be in the smallest area of our lives or the largest area of our lives or the most significant area of our lives. Nobody likes to say, guess what, guys? I stink. I stunk at this. I messed up. Nobody likes that. Everybody wants the accolades. Everybody wants, the prestige. Everybody wants the 1,000 likes.
Absolutely. And the thing is that we fail to understand, Lex, that failure can become a stepping stone to success. That's the thing. So then it tells us, I guess, we are to change the perspective about things, And I want to read this to you guys because I found this so interesting as we're breaking down the various failures that we spoke about. The Peter's life, right? Now I'm going to read this real quick because I need you guys to understand. It says, now it happened that while the crowd was pressing around him and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, and he saw two boats lying at the edge of the lake. But the fishermen had gotten out of them and were washing their nets. And he got into one of the boats, which was Simon's, and asked him to put it out a little away from the land. And he sat down and began teaching the people from the boat. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, put out in the deep water and let down your nets for a catch. Simon answered and said, Master, we worked hard all night and caught nothing, but I will do as you say and let down the nets. When they had done this, they enclosed a great quantity of fish and their nets began to break. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat for them to come and help them. And they came and filled both of the boats so that they began to sink. But when Simon Peter saw that, he fell down at Jesus' feet, saying, go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man. For amazement has seized him and all his companions because of the catch of fish which they had taken. So I think this is such an example. What was a failure? See, because when you accept that you have failed, what is the first thing that you are to do when you accept that you have failed? You have got to allow God to take control.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, Claude, okay, because I love that story. But Peter was a seasoned fisherman.
Come on, say that.
Peter was he wasn't a novice. This wasn't his first time. He knew this was his livelihood. This was what his being. And many times, because this is our livelihood, many times because we've been married for over 10 years, many times because we've had this relationship since childhood, many times because we've gone to school for 4+ years, we feel like we are too seasoned to take any advice from God.
Oh, I love that you touched that. And you know why I love that you touched that? And I wrote it down in my notes because you just opened that. It said, who did the boat belong to? Right? When I was reading this, who did the boat belong to? Because we'll see that the boat belonged to Simon Peter. It was his boat.
Right.
Yet Jesus told him what to do with it as if it was his own. So in other words, it's clearly telling us that they're in the process of recovery, in the process of God, I failed. I'm not going to put my 2 cents into this anymore because possibly I've been trying to control how I throw my net for so long because I've been doing it this way for a long time, just like you said it. And God's like, listen, I've been trying to teach you how to recover the loss, but you're not allowing me to take control of it. So I think that one of the questions we have to ask ourselves, Lex, is how much control are we willing to allow God to take when we're trying to recover from failure?
And to your point, the first thing that Peter did when Jesus approached him was admit his failure. Lord, we've been doing this all night and we haven't caught a thing. We've been doing this all night. We have wasted our time. We have been out there. We have done all the things right that we know to do, that we've been taught to do. We have done everything on the books. There is nothing that has gone by us. We have dropped the nets. We've lifted up the nets. We put it on this side. We've gone deep. We've gone deeper and nothing has happened. But if you heard the text, if you've read this text, that BUT is one of the most important parts of Peter's conversation. Number one, admit your failure. Number two, give God a but. What if you say to do it, even though I failed at it and I did everything I knew to do? But if you say,
because Peter didn't put up an argument with Jesus.
No.
Like he didn't say, well, what do you what are you talking about? What are you this? What are you that? And I think, Lex, is so important when we're speaking about seasoned, a fisherman that's seasoned, a person that's been doing this, been doing that. Another thing that the doctors will tell you when you're recovering from something is, I remember I told my doctor, oh, I have a friend who did the same surgery and she recovered real quick. And he said, hold on. Everybody has a different recovery.
That I love that. Because you know what? We may have gone, and you and I, we're friends. We know we've gone through some similar
Very similar.
things,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've recovered differently.
Yes. Yes.
And this is when that spirit of comparison comes in and totally confuses us. It comes in to distract us because my boat is different from your boat, and the fish that I'm going to bring in is different from your fish. I may be bringing in crabs, you may be bringing in sharks. We don't know, but let me tell you something. At the end of the day, recovery is going to be sweet for both of us.
Ooh, I just did my face right there. When y'all see me do this face, it's because it hit me. I just want to piggyback on that for a minute, Lex, because that's the part where we get desperate.
Okay, so what happens when we get desperate, Claude? Can you please elaborate? Because many of us have gotten desperate. And let me tell you something, we haven't done good with our desperation. So what happens? Break it down. What happens when we get desperate, girl?
Listen, when we and this is why I've had, and again, we're all transparent and everything here. How many times have you told God, like, God, why are you not doing this? Like, right? God, why are you taking so long? God, why it took me? And I was one that, I would tell God, God, it's been taking me 15 years for you to do what you're doing now. Like, what's the deal? And I literally picture God just like you cross your arms right now, like, homegirl, in my time, because God is time. Right. And Nicole Crank was saying something so interesting, Lex, about time. She said that when astronauts and scientists, they go to the universe, they can hear the sound of shows from like the 1980s and because once sound leaves, it never disappears. It just stays floating, right? So that it means that when we says that God was there even before the beginning, right? It means that that's proof, because it means that time has existed and it doesn't, right? So what it is we're telling God, I need you to do this, but in his timing, he's just waiting for you to catch up to him. Now, as he's waiting for us to catch up to him, we're becoming so desperate because yes, failure brings pain. Failure brings recklessness. Failure brings anxiety. It brings depression, because who in their right mind is going to tell me that when you fail, you with your hands up like, thank you, Jesus. I am so happy. Let's throw a party, this, and that. I mean, we may be strong in our faith, right? We may say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, yada, yada, yada.
Or you give yourself that pep talk and say, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do this again.
Exactly. But the reality is that pain hurts you. And when we are so desperate to want to recover from that without God's help, then we end up hurting ourselves more along the process. And I'll tell you why. Because when I had that surgery, my doctor kept telling me, you're going to have to wear a cane for 3 weeks. Okay. So the first week I was happy. I was excited. I even blinged out my cane, my sister cane. She put rhinestones and stuff on the cane. But then the second week came and I'm just like, oh, I feel a little better now. I don't need the cane, right? I put the cane away. When I put the cane away, best believe my hip got discombobulated, dislocated. And the doctor's like, I told you. You had to wear the cane for 3 weeks. And the thing is that we don't like to be vulnerable at times in our recovery. And I'll tell you what I mean by that is this goes back to the fact that recovery is a waiting process. You can't accelerate the process. Single ladies that are watching so many times, and I can be truthful and honest with you. When we try to choose the mate, select the relationship, make the relationship, God's like, homegirl, like you just desperate. Like at this point, you're just desperate, whether it's for a man, whether it's for ministry, whether it's for whatever it is. And I get it. A physical failure, physical pain, whatever messes with you mentally. But you can imagine if Peter, Lex, would have said, nah, let me just, keep doing this and let me not listen to God and let me not, then he probably wouldn't have caught the greatest catch of all time.
Right.
Okay. And desperate, like,
and he would have missed his miracle.
He would have. That's what I was telling you. Don't let desperation get you to miss the moment. We've always said this. I've always said this. God is Alpha and Omega, right? But what I've learned about it is that because he is the beginning and he is the end, he is also the in-between. And because he is the in-between, I have got to understand that this walk with God is not so much about the destiny, but it's about what happens in my in-between. What happens when I'm trying to recover from failure? What happens when I'm trying to work and walk in his timing, in his indication? Because doesn't the Bible tell us that, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by God?
By God, yes.
Right?
Yes,
so it means like God is a very much God of order. So, we can't rush the process because I remember my doctor told me, you may look like you're healed from the outside, but inside. I said, because, my scar looks nice. He said, yeah, it's healed from the outside. But if I were to give you a sonogram and you were to look on the inside, sometimes the inside takes longer to heal than the outside.
Okay.
And that's the problem, that people assume that, she looks so nice outside, but we ain't worried about fixing the inside, y'all.
That's right. But again, Claude, that desperation, that desperate moment that you want to recover, guess what you do out of desperation? Number one, you fall out of God's will.
Yeah.
Number two, you start making rash decisions.
Based on your emotions.
Based on your emotions. And let me tell you, working out of emotion is not a good thing.
I've been there, done that.
Okay. And we're going to get into, let me just ask you, what does recovery look like in the following areas?
Go ahead.
How does recovery look like in marriage? When you have a failed marriage, Claude.
And see, I'm sure you'll give a different point because you're obviously still married and stuff. But you guys know I've always shared this. I had a marriage that lasted 5 years. And shout out to Emmeline's father, great man. I have nothing to say because sometimes people are like, oh, they got to. No, we were just in different places, different mindsets, whatever happened. I love him to death. He's an amazing father to my child. But we did have a failed marriage.
Right.
And so, how were we recovering from it? Child, I think that, and I can speak of how to recover from a failed marriage and stuff, it's not, Lex, it's not easy because the blame game comes, well, you didn't do this and I didn't do that. And you could have done this and you could have done that. And you could have done more. And we could have done this. And, let alone having to deal with the religious opinion of many. Notice it's a religious opinion of many, that are, and I'm not promoting divorce whatsoever. Right. Please don't ever think that, but I'm only speaking about my personal
We're talking
experience.
About your personal testimony.
My personal experience.
And others that are still struggling from the failure of their marriage. Not that they failed.
Yep.
Okay.
The marriage. Yeah.
But the marriage failed.
And I think that's the one.
Still a recovery.
Correct. And I think that that's so amazing what you said, because we both had to understand it's not that we failed individual, right? It's not like there's something wrong with you only and this and that. It's just that the relationship we were trying to build did not work. And in me personally, I ended up taking counseling. I ended up taking, because again, we always emphasize this here. If you need help, get help. Get help. Speak about it. And then, because a lot of people and a lot of women are I don't like when the phrase is used of the baby daddy, the baby mama. I just think it's so,
Okay.
it
Okay.
doesn't settle too well with me, but whatever,
Okay.
but I think that a lot of times people have to understand, Lex, that it is possible to recover from a failed marriage and be amicable.
Okay. Yes. And I think that when you do recover from anything that we're talking about here,
Yeah.
you always come out positive. You don't stay
Yes.
Mara. You
Yeah.
go back to being Naomi,
Yeah.
you know? And let me tell you, I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
this in a different perspective.
Yeah.
I've been in places, and mind you, I've had a lot of seasons in my marriage
Yeah.
that didn't look like it was going to prevail or make
Yeah.
it. I believe that if you're in ministry, the enemy is after your marriage.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you are sanctifying it, that you're praying over it, that you're covering it with the blood of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But in counseling, let me tell you, when we have failed marriages for whatever reason, one or the other has failed in their promises to one another.
Yeah.
I want to speak into the desperation that comes in
Mm.
when the marriage is failing, when the marriage is falling apart. And I have people that take matters in their own hands out of desperation. And guess what? They didn't consult with God, and the marriage leads in divorce where there could have been reconciliation. There wasn't any, because one of the parties
Yeah.
got so desperate and thought that they
Yeah.
knew how to make this better, or they wanted to make the other person feel a certain
Yeah.
way. And back to what we said in the beginning, that's called manipulation.
Yes, ma'am.
You need to ask God, what are the measures that I need to take?
Yeah.
What do we need to do if
Yeah.
one doesn't want to get the counseling and I still want my marriage to work out? You don't need to manipulate the
Yep.
situation. You need to trust God. You need
Yep.
to believe God. And it may look like it failed now, but let me tell you, my God is a God that can
Yeah.
take all failures and make them
Yep.
into something that we've never thought, never dreamed. He can
Yeah.
make it a testimony. And so it is very difficult when you come into a failed relationship like a marriage.
Yeah, and it's even more difficult when you are in leadership, and even more difficult when there's children involved. But it is possible to recover. It is possible to do that, and I think that one key thing is, leaving the victim mentality behind. Because when you always have the victim mentality in a relationship such as marriage, there is no room for recovery,
Yeah.
because it's you're always going to be the victim, the one that's hurt, and the one that, because I've noticed, a lot of people don't want to get out of that victim mentality, because getting out of that victim mentality brings them attention.
You saying the truth. People don't like the truth, Claude.
Victim mentality is comfortable, it's like you're familiar with the pain enough that it's become your identity. And I
Ooh.
think that is another thing. But again, Lex speaking from her point of marriage, me speaking about the separation, the divorce that comes from it. Can you recover from it? Absolutely, you can.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
again, it all goes back to, do I want to recover? And in our case
But that
is,
recovery
yeah,
is so vital, because let me tell you,
yes,
you can go through a divorce, you can go through a separation, but if you
yeah.
do not recover, then you're going to have failed
You're going
relationships.
to bring it on. And that's important. And you know what? And I'm speaking to moms here, because we, Anthony and I had to make a choice. Are we going to be enemies here, or are we going to be amicable because there's a child involved? And I love that I get an opportunity to say this, and I'm getting emotional I was having dinner with my daughter today. And my 9-year-old daughter tells me that she feels happy when she hears her dad and I laugh on the phone.
Because they're watching. They're
She's
listening.
watching. So my recovery will affect my will to want to recover, could have affected my daughter positively or negatively.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your want to recover, Lex, affects your surroundings.
Yes.
The people that are connected to you.
And it's so much so for those of us that are in ministry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this goes to all our girls, everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to affect your circle. It's going to affect your family.
Mhm.
But for those of us that have been called to ministry,
Yeah.
it affects everyone around us.
Absolutely. And we were talking about it the other day, Lex. Uh, when you are in ministry, you have to be cautious what you're co-signing to and with, right? Because, and I'll use you and I as an example.
Okay.
There are times where you're going through something, and we'll text each other and we're like, this is happening. And I'm like, oh, snap, this is happening to me too. Right. Because when I decided to let you in I said the other day, it's not about who comes into your life, but who comes into your spirit. So when you build a circle, you're not just allowing them in your life, you're allowing them in your spirit. And as you're allowing them in your spirit, they're becoming co-signers, okay, of the assignment over your life, which means, okay, that there are choices I'm going to make that may end up affecting Lex on the long run. Absolutely. Because she has co-signed to my assignment. So I've been noticing that, that Lex and I, we all of a sudden, we have been connecting at a deeper level. And because we've been connecting at a deeper level, it's like, oh, snap, we're just going through the same roller coaster together.
Yeah.
So my recovery can be dependent on Lex's choice to want to recover and vice versa. So
absolutely.
I need to want to recover because there's some people who need you to recover.
We need to recover. And let me tell you, it's, again, what Claude said, it is not easy to recover from a failed relationship, whether it be a family, in your circle, a family member, a marriage, some people that have older children that haven't talked to their children in so long. I'm not going to bring that down. I'm not going to talk against that. Things happen, but let me tell you, there needs to be recovery. Yeah. Something failed in that relationship between mother and daughter, father and son, so there has to, but who's willing? Yeah. I guess that's the question. Who's willing to recover from it, right? Yeah. Because there's always like, well, she's not talking to me, so I'm not talking to her. Well, guess what? You're never going to thrive in your relationships until you recover from that one.
Recovery isn't so much for other people. It's for you. Yeah. It's the same thing as forgiveness. Like, your will to forgive someone that hasn't even offered you an apology. You're doing it for yourself, for your own freedom. That is your own recovery.
If you know me, I'm not a person that holds grudges against anyone. Nah. But let me tell you, within the last couple of months of my life right now, I've been tried and tested. And just the other day, I had a conversation with the Lord and I said, Lord, I feel like my heart is shifting and it's getting cold and I don't want that. Not cold in the Lord. Let me specify.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
Just cold in a relationship where I'm a very giving person, a very honest person. And I was very saddened by that because there are relationships that are going to try you. They're going to test you. But what do you do with that? Because it is for you. Because you know what? The worst thing to do is have something like a relationship alter your relationship with God.
Yeah. Yeah. But Lex, now that you're touching the friendship thing, right? And I have a question for you. Is it possible to recover broken friendships and for them to be the same as before?
Ooh, okay, Claude. I do believe that you can recover from that friendship breaking. I also, I'm being careful. I do believe that God can make a way to mend the relationship and bring that relationship to another level of maturity. But there are times, okay, that I do believe that there needs to be recovery from the relationship and there needs to be a moving on ceremony. That you will not a graduation, because that person was in your life for a season. I believe that. And as much as you hold on, and there's sometimes that you're going to have to uncleave from that relationship. And that's part of the recovery. And people don't understand the uncleaving. They don't understand the soul ties. You don't have to have a soul tie just with a partner. You can have a soul tie with someone that you've been intimately, emotionally attached to. And I do believe that there are seasons for people, and you're going to have to say
Mm,
thank you very much for that. And
mm,
I'm glad that I recovered from that relationship, but
mhm.
you're not going to be the same.
And I love what Joy said. If both are willing to drop all charges, and ladies, we want to know real quick in the comments, can you recover from a broken friendship and be the same again? I like what Lex said. I think that sometimes you do have to do what Real Talk Kim says. I'm gonna love you, but I'm gonna love you from the balcony.
Hmm?
Because I've already know how I love you from close.
Close.
I do think that recovery will often uh, take you to a place where certain things just don't fit in the recovery anymore, right?
Right. For
Um,
example, in your surgery, right? There was an abscess and
mhm.
it had to be removed.
Yeah,
There are going to be things that need to be surgically removed from your life because they don't belong there.
yeah. And you know what's crazy, Lex? Oof, I just feel God with that, and I love that you touched that. And we always get off the topic, but that's just how God
This is
does.
heart to heart. It's heart to
Um,
heart.
you know, the abscess wasn't causing me pain.
Hmm.
The reason why they had to remove it was because the doctor said if we leave it for too long, it's going to cause an infection.
Mm-hmm.
What caused me the severe pain was the recovery. And let's just pause in that, because sometimes recovery will hurt more than the actual process that led you to the recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you know what, Claude, it's hard when I mean, right now we're talking about relationships and then we're gonna get into a different part, which is hard, but
Mm-hmm.
um if we could keep it honest and real as we always do, having something in your life for so long
Mm.
and then it no longer being available
Or how about having something in your life that you think would stay?
and then no longer having it present. I think that's one of the hardest things that we go through.
Wow.
And we yearn to have it back so bad,
Wow, 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 wow.
right? If we could be honest, that we yearn to have it back so bad. But what we didn't know, or what we don't know in the recovery mode,
Mm-hmm.
is that we are going to be better without it present, without it there. But the memories, the lingering moments, the smell, sometimes the nostalgia of being in a place
Mm.
bring us back to the
No,
place, and we relapse in our recovery.
nope, nope.
We go back to the start and have to do it all over again.
Mm. Wow. Having to start all over again. I
Because
think
you
that's
said,
just,
number one, you said we have to choose to recover. But what if we choose to recover and then all of a sudden we get a smell or an inkling, or we pick up the phone and do the wrong thing because we get desperate? Guess what? We just brought recovery right back to the start.
yeah. And I think that's why it's so important for y'all to understand that recovery without God is almost impossible. And that's why the Bible says, with the renewal of our mind, the renewal of our mind. And I will tell you, because I'm sure you'll wonder, well, so how do I recover? What do I got to do? One, we say you got to want to recover, right?
You have to
Two, you got
choose.
to admit it and allow God, right, to
Admit your
do it.
failure, yes.
Admit the failure. But then also, you have to be willing to do what God says that you have to do, because remember, he told Peter, do this, do that, right? And as you are willing to allow God to do that, we have to walk in humbleness before God. Okay. And I think that sometimes when we lose something, Don't ever tell me that you've never wondered, well, God, why? Why did I lose this? Why, if I thought this was going to work out? Why, if I thought that this was finally it? Why, if I thought that I was finally going to get married this time? Why, if I finally thought I was going to be able to conceive this child and now I had a miscarriage?
Mm.
Why, if I finally thought that I had the dream job? Or why, if I finally thought that I was doing okay financially? And now, God, this happens, and now I have to recover from this, and now I have to do that. So recovery must push you to God.
Oof. You know, lady just
Yeah.
struck a chord. An
Yep.
addiction.
Yep.
Recovery is so hard.
It's so hard.
Let's talk about this. We're not going to get into any addictions that we
Yeah.
may
Yeah.
have had, but there's so many different addictions. There's addictions to alcohol,
Yeah.
to substances, to pornography, to
Social
relationships,
media. Yep.
to social media, to food.
Yeah.
Addictions come in all
Yep.
shapes and
Yep.
sizes. But for those of us who have had to walk a journey of recovering,
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
let me say this. If you've had to go through a recovery process, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
AA meetings or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
may
Mm-hmm.
be,
Mm-hmm.
or abuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your recovery is forever.
Yeah. Oh, Lex. You know, Lex. Do
I'm
you
gonna say
know?
that. I'm gonna say that again. You will have to choose to recover. You're
Yeah.
gonna be in recovery for the rest
Yeah.
of your life. And
Yeah.
in AA, you
Yeah.
have to have an accountability person.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Someone you can call up and say, I'm about to take
Yeah.
a sip. I'm
Yeah.
about to go to the bar. I'm about to sneak this.
Mhm.
You're going to have to do this for the rest of your life, because
Mm.
if you don't, you're going to fall back into failure.
My God. You just listen. My endocrinologist today, I saw him today, right? And he's like, listen, we're getting to a point where I can say that you're no longer diabetic. Okay.
Hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, no, but I consider you a recovering diabetic. So you just said, listen, child, listen here. So he said, because if you don't do what you got to do, you're going to fall right back to where you was at. So I love that you touched that. I love that you touched it. And I pray that every woman that's tuned in here, even men, I pray that God may bring you the women that you need, the support system that you need,
Support. That's
so
it.
that when you want to go back to what caused you to fail in the first place, whatever it is that that you can have a homegirl, a sister to say, hey, because let me tell you something, one thing about Lex and I, if we're going through something, we always ask each other one question, and that is, what can I do for you?
Absolutely.
Even if she tells me no, even if I tell her no, I'm good. That one question of what can I do for you? Today, I told her that the weather was just bombing me with pain with the fibromyalgia, and she said, well, what can you do for that? That shows that she's willing to figure out how
Yeah.
to prevent
What
me,
needs to happen
what
to
needs to happen.
remedy? Yes.
Exactly. But I love that you touched that, Lex, because it's your recovery. There's no, like, people want to know, so how long is it going to take me for me to recover, right? I can tell you how long it took me to recover. It's going to take you probably less, or thing, somebody says, there's no set time for recovery. It can be a revolving thing, and I'll tell you why. Because every day you realize that you have accomplished something more. For example, if you're recovering from a relationship, it could be 3-4 years, and here you are still thinking about what that relationship caused you to feel, right? But every
Right.
day you're learning that you're getting closer to closer to the recovery. And I love that you said that, because recovery is always, I mean, doesn't, we're all under construction. We're all
Absolutely.
under construction every day, all day, Lex.
Yeah. You know, besides choosing that you're going to want to recover, besides having to admit your failure,
Yeah.
having to give God that
Yeah.
permission to start the recovery process, you're
Yeah.
going to have to, number 4, you're going to have to be willing to do recovery for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
that's
fantastic.
and most people right there are like sighing like, "Oh man, this is too hard." That's a great thing.
Yeah.
That's a great thing,
Yeah.
because I see my life today and versus 10 years ago, I'm a much better person today.
That's yeah, exactly.
I'm a
Exactly.
much better person today.
Yeah.
Are there areas that are hard in my life? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know what? Every day I'm getting better. Every
Yeah.
day I'm being perfected.
Yeah.
But I'm choosing every day,
Yeah.
right, to have the right attitude
Yeah.
about my recovery.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that we went into, addictions.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I
You
love
know,
that. I love that. And Lex, what's also very important, and I know that, time is on us, but I think that once we are in the recovery process, it's important for us to reset our priorities,
mm,
because perhaps what caused us to fail was we had our priorities all wrong. And
right.
I think that as we recover, and I love that Joy said, we lack so much accountability. And as we, pay attention to that, as we become accountable of ourselves and our choices and whatever, we are to reset our priorities. Because how many times are we wanting to help others recover, and in the long run we have yet to recover ourselves? And I think that there's like this Instagram meme that says, well, the giver sometimes needs to be given to, the healer needs to be healed to, the passionate one needs to be passionate about, and so I think that reset priorities. Don't put a timeline like, well, by this time I need to be fully recovered from this one, because when you set expectations and you don't meet them at
Then
the
you
time,
fail again.
then you fail again. You took the words
Then you
right out of
fail
my mouth.
again.
You took the
Yep.
words right out of my mouth. And I think that, a lot of people like don't want to recover because sometimes recover will be a little bit selfish. And yes, it is not something that we have been called to do. It's not Christ-like, but recovery sometimes is going to be a bit selfish, because do not assume that people are going to understand your recovery process.
And not only that, but I can't help you the way I'm at right now.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
That's what
mean?
I'm saying.
Like,
Hello.
understand, like I am taking this time to be better for all of
For
us.
all of us. And
But
you have
like,
to respect that. You have to
and
respect my
there's
boundaries.
the word
You
respect.
Yeah, you have to respect
Respect.
my healing time, my healing process,
Right.
so many times when you go to a hospital, I don't know if you've noticed, they have like signs that say,
Quiet.
quiet, recovery.
Right.
Sometimes, saying less is more. And if maybe you've already in that state of recovered, and you have somebody in your life that is recovering from whatever it is, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes they don't want you to yap the recovery into their ear. Maybe what they want is you just to remain silent with your words, but not with your actions, prayer,
Yeah.
send a little note, send a little something,
Send a little
um,
basket of fruit.
send something, like
Send a
I've
little
always,
fruit this
Lex
way.
and we've gotten to that point where I could tell her straight up, I'm not in a good mood today. I'm in pain. Don't want to talk. She knows that.
Absolutely.
She
And I'm
knows
like,
that.
you good. Call me
Yes,
tomorrow.
exactly. Because remember,
But
everybody's recovery is different. Everybody's
everybody.
healing process is different. I can be more tolerant to pain than Lex is.
Right.
I could be more spiritually fit than anyone. Lex could be more spiritually led than me to recover. So, yes, respect, reset your priorities, whether it's a friendship, like you mentioned, that we're recovering from, marriage, what it was, ministry, right? That's another big one that we're going to
That's
have to probably do a big second topic on this.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what it is recovery. Is failure something that we're never going to experience? Find me someone that's never failed.
Mm, they've never lived.
Yeah.
They've never lived.
No, if you're not failing, then you're living. Why does it sound like that? Then you're
Dude,
living a life that is not yours.
Ooh, then you're performing.
Wow.
Okay, you're just performing.
That was a mic drop, like Emma would say. Yeah. I
You
can't,
know?
I wish I would tell you my failures. Like,
No. Yeah, absolutely. I I am Alexa and I have failed many times. I have
mm-hmm,
failed my God.
mm-hmm,
I have
mm-hmm.
failed myself.
Yeah,
I have failed in my marriage. I have failed my parents.
yeah,
I have failed those closest to me,
yeah,
but I didn't stay in my failure.
yeah. Wow. Yep,
I am recovering
yep,
and I am proud to say that.
yep, yep,
I am in recovery
yep,
and I will be in recovery until the day Jesus
yep.
comes or he takes me home.
Right. Because if I didn't need to recover, then I would be perfect. And if I was perfect, then I wouldn't be here right now on this live. I love what you said, Lex. I think as we're closing it out, what the ladies that are watching is, I am Claudia and I may have failed and may probably fail again,
Yeah.
whether it's a failed recipe, whether it's a
Yes.
failed, whatever it is. Don't be so hard on yourself.
So
You know,
good. Close with that.
yeah, don't be so hard on yourself that you feel like the total loser, that you feel like, and I'll tell you, out of example, one day I was sitting down in my kitchen and I was just watching one of my a good friend of mine who graduated and she's now a physician's assistant, and I think I texted you that night, Lex, have you ever felt like you should have been here
Hmm.
um,
Long time
a
ago.
long time ago? Have you ever felt like you should have done this by now? Started the business, had the successful marriage, have this, whatever it is. And, for a moment, I felt so bad for myself.
Mm,
Like I
mhm.
felt like a total loser, if I may say it,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And so I think that it's so important to, one of the conferences we're doing is called Shake It Off. I think it's important to just shake it off, because
Yes.
what the enemy will do is in your moment of failure,
Hmm.
he will use it against you. You'll end up buying balloons and throwing yourself a pity party.
Right?
You'll end up thinking that this is where you stay. This is how you will end. This is how your children will be. This is how the scenario will be. But the truth of the matter is that the Bible speaks to us that, what is ahead of us is greater than what is
Greater.
behind us.
Yes.
Our ladder will be greater,
Yeah.
and I think that the women that are watching, I think tonight, Lex, is the night that maybe you applaud yourself for a bit,
Yes. That's so crazy and
because
so
you
good
failed, but
and
you
so
gotta,
prophetic. To all my sisters that have failed, I want you to put that little emoji with the confetti
and the clapping
and
hands.
the clapping hands.
Yep.
If you have failed, we are here to celebrate you today
Yep.
because your failure deems you worthy of your recovery.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that it is so appealing to God, right?
Yes.
Where you can come before God and say, I messed up, I failed, I tried to do it on my own, but I need you to teach me how to throw that net. I
And
need you to teach
I
me.
was gonna say that, Claude.
Yep.
Tonight, the Lord tells you, do you want to catch some
Yep.
fish?
Yep.
The Lord
Do
tells you,
you,
do you wanna get out of that failed divorce
oof,
mentality? Do you wanna get out of that failed ministry mentality, that
yep.
failed relationship with your parent or your
Yep.
or your friend? Do you wanna
Yep.
get out of that failed, you fill in the blanks,
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever it is.
whatever
Whatever
it is.
it is.
And
Nothing
Jesus
catches
says,
God by surprise, Lex.
nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
I don't know if you guys have heard, I'm sure, Jaira with Elevation Worship in Maverick City. It says, I don't need a trophy to impress you. Like, my failures are not, like, it doesn't catch you by
By
surprise, God.
surprise.
Because at
Yep.
the end of the day, God does not see you by your failure. He already sees you at the finish line. So the more you keep contemplating and, petting the failure and, this is how my life is going to be. This
Well,
is how I'm going to end. Girl, I'm going to need you tonight. Lex is going to need you tonight at 9:25 on the Cinco de Mayo. The people
yes.
are up on that bar, turning it up, drinking I don't know how many tequila shots tonight. You're going to
Or
celebrate a different
margaritas.
Cinco de Mayo.
You need
And
to
what
put
you're
it
going to
down.
do is you're going to get yourself up and you're going to
Mm.
stop crying and you're going to
Woo.
stop, being sorry for yourself. You're going to snap
Well,
out of that victim mentality. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you are going to start walking as a victorious woman. It does not mean that tomorrow is going to be easy, that there's not going to be setbacks, that you're not going to want to go back to what hurt you in the first place. It
yeah, there
doesn't
you
mean
go.
that there's things that are going to come as easy as 1, 2, 3, but it means that at the moment that you decide that you want to recover from whatever hurt you, from whatever abused you, from whatever left you, from whatever dropped you, from wherever they kicked you out of, from wherever they said you weren't qualified for, you are going to want to go into recovery, because recovery is a God-given thing for you. Why? Because recovery comes with grace.
Ooh, a
And
whole
grace is
word.
given unto you so freely. And
So
like, doesn't the Bible say that his mercy is new every
every morning.
day? That
Come
means
on.
that every day, Lex, there's a reset button somewhere happening in your life where God's like, oh, okay, let me reset you back to, okay, well, yesterday wasn't such a good day.
Right.
No worries. You can go to sleep, lay your head to rest. Okay. All right. Tomorrow, we're back
We
to the
start
drawing
all
board.
over. We start all over. And tonight, that's what we came to say. Listen, recovering from failure is a wonderful thing.
Yep.
And God gives it to us. He gives it to you. He gives
Yep.
it to me. Tonight, we gave so many steps to
Yep.
the recovery process. And the fact that we're going to be recovering until
Yep.
until the last breath,
Yep.
that's not a bad thing.
No.
So applaud yourself, not so much for the failure, but applaud yourself for sticking to it. Applaud
Yep.
yourself for saying yes to
Yep.
recovery.
Yep.
But it's your choice.
Yep.
Choose it tonight. Choose it today. It's a perfect Cinco de Mayo
Yep.
to choose life, to choose
Yep.
to live. You're
Yep.
not gonna be here forever. You're
No.
not going to be where you're at forever. I promise you. Claudia shared her heartbreak. She shared how difficult it was, but she's not that person anymore.
No.
She's living her life. She's living the life that God intended.
Yep.
God opened after that, which we didn't talk about, after her recovery, after her healing, God opened so many other doors. Has he not?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And
ma'am.
so God is looking to do different things right now in our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
So we love you, girls. Thank you for being here tonight on our Heart to Heart. We are so happy. And before we end, we have some upcoming events that we wanted to share with y'all. Claude, can you talk about the first one coming up this month?
Yes. Amen. Girlies from San Antonio, Texas. We're going to be there exactly 2 weeks, y'all. May 21st to the 22nd. I will be one of the speakers along with Prophetess Jasmine George, and Lex is going to be there with me that weekend as well. So we are
I'm
hyped.
coming to receive. I'm coming to be like,
Yo, let me tell you, San Antonio ladies, Joy, I know you there watching. I know Isela says she's planning my surprise birthday party.
what?
So if y'all need ideas, suggestions, decor, I'm really good at my surprise birthday planning. But no, I'm just kidding. We will
San
be there.
Antonio, we are
Yes.
ready. I am so ready. I've been to Hello Beautiful conference and I am so ready to be there and meet prophetess Jasmine George. And not only that, but be with my co-hosts. Okay.
Yeah. We're excited. Olivia Ortiz is saying, I can't wait to meet you guys. Listen, we are setting up a meet and greet and everything. You guys know wherever I go, I always want to meet and greet people. But yes, San Antonio, we're coming to you. Lex is going to be there. Pastor Maudi is going to be there.
Yes,
So
he is.
it's going to be awesome. Lex, what's the next event coming up?
The next event coming up in June is the Resilient Like Never Before Conference, June 25th through the 26th. On the 24th, though, Claudia, we have something for women in ministry. It's going to be fantastic. The lineup, we have our guest speaker, prophetess Leslie Nieves. We also have doing worship Eunice Rodriguez, and prophetess Jasmine Georges will be joining us again. And of course, our co-host Maudi is our host for the evening. And guess what, Claude? On Saturday of the Like Never Before conference, we're doing a ladies' night talk show live with an audience. Our first time ever. We are so excited. So if y'all are not in San Antonio, y'all need to come to Seminole, Texas in June, or you could do both. Right now, registration is going on and you get a free shirt. Registration is so inexpensive and the hotel rooms are selling out. So you want to do that. Go check it out at Like Never Before Conference Facebook page. And Claude, what's happening?
And then July, we have our Heels and Tiaras ministries in person. Y'all know with COVID, we were not able to do the in person, but we are back July 10th in the Bronx, New York. All right. So we are so excited. Listen, y'all see my face and prophetess Jasmine George on all these flyers. But I am so hyped because on this one, we got our girl Crystal Joan, who is going to be doing the worship that day. Let me tell you something. She is just fire. She is, when y'all see her on Facebook Live, that ain't nothing to when she does in person. So we are so excited. So if you are in the New York area, we currently have about 45 seats left because although all restrictions are being lifted, we want to continue being wise, and seating will be limited because y'all ladies be sweating and everything. You know how it is when we do our Heels and Tiaras events. So go ahead and ask us for information. You guys got 3 amazing events coming up. Somebody commented from Lubbock. I will be there in September. Once I get the information from there, we are going to be posting it. So I don't know, y'all. We becoming Texans. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get me some cowgirl boots.
You are not gonna wear no cowboy boots.
Yeah, no, because I'm short, so they'll probably reach like.
Yeah, we're not gonna be doing those things. But here we go. If you're going to Lubbock, I'll meet you in Lubbock. We're excited. We're gonna have a great time. This is Heart to Heart with Lex and Claude. I hope you had a great evening. It's time to recover from that failure, and we are so happy. We hope to see you at one of these Heels and Tiara events, Like Never Before events, or here on This Is My Time Ministries. We are here for you, girls. We love you, girls, and we will see you next time on Heart to Heart.
Alex, if they ever want a topic that they want us to discuss, go ahead and inbox us. We are more than happy. We got no shame in our game. Remember, the next Heart to Heart, we're going to be trying that peach thingamajiggy, she said. I don't know what it was, but it was something with peaches.
But we're going to do it here live, and we're going to taste it. We're going to go for Anna. Let us know what that was.
God bless you guys. God keep you.
We'll talk to you later.